Hi, today we're going to be talking about the Canon EOS 77D, and we're going to be speaking about all its strengths and weaknesses, and if this camera is a great fit for you, especially if you are starting photography or you want to upgrade to something a little more serious. So here it is, the Canon 77D. Okay, so let's talk about the specs. This has a 24.2 megapixel sensor on the inside with a Digic 7 processor. Now this allows it to do 6 frames per second burst shooting, and thanks to the dual pixel autofocus it has inside here, it is able to focus like really quickly and really accurately. For someone who is going into photography, this is like a really solid device you should own, because it would give you the accuracy and the speed that you'd expect, especially when shooting outdoors. It does quite well in low light as well. I think for me, when I take a look at this camera, it reminds me a lot of the 6D Mark II because of the sort of focus points it has on the inside and how they behave. I feel like it's closest to how the 6D Mark II behaves. So it's like a baby 6D Mark II in my eyes. Now let's talk about the video specs next. Now let's talk video specs. This camera shoots 1080p video up to 60 frames per second. Now, no 4K unfortunately, but I feel like that's not a deal breaker because most of the content you consume on a daily basis is basically 1080p, not really 4K. Unless you are streaming on, let's say, a huge screen or something like that, it's not really going to appear in 4K. This doesn't have sensor shift stabilization, but it does have electronic image stabilization. So it crops in a little, but gives you the ability to take out a lot of the handshakes and jiggles that you normally see when recording handheld video, which is quite good, especially if you're going to be someone who's going to be like vlogging and shooting video on a regular. It has quite good dynamic range. If you are someone who is into a lot of color grading and whatnot, this can be pushed even further if you use the Cine-style color profile in the Canon picture profiles on the camera. Now, if you're able to do that, it gives you a little bit more leeway to be able to color grade to how you want it, because it shoots a lower form of like neutral profile. So it gives you the freedom to do and express yourself creatively in your videos. So let's talk about what next. Okay, so let's talk pros and cons. First, we start with the pros. This is quite an affordable camera, especially for people who would be beginners or semi-pro shooters. For the fact that it's a crop sensor camera, so it uses both the EFS lenses and the EF lenses all together. So you can combine both ends of the spectrum when it comes to lens affordability and still get the work done. It's a lightweight camera, it's not too heavy. The Canon color science speaks for itself, where you get rich skin tone straight out of the camera. In fact, if you are someone who has been following my channel for a little while, this has been my second camera for shooting videos. So because I'm reviewing it today, it's in my hands, so I'm unable to show you the second shot. But it's quite a solid camera all around. Oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about this. The flip screen. So when shooting videos or shooting pictures at odd angles and you need something to be able to, view your shots and whatnot, it has a really good screen that is also touch screen. So you're able to, tap to focus and whatnot, straight from the screen behind. But yeah, I think those are some of the major pros about this camera. Now let's talk about the cons. Now let's talk cons. No 4K. Yes, I did say it's not a deal breaker for most people, but for people who are going to be shooting a lot of like big productions and whatnot, this might not serve you well when it comes to being a B cam for 4K footage, because it doesn't shoot 4K. It has mid-level dynamic range that you can only maybe push a little, like ever so slightly, when you're using the semi-profile. And for the price of this camera now, I feel like the tech has aged, not poorly, but technology around cameras has gone forward a little more. So for the similar price you'd use for getting something like this, you could probably get something like a used Canon EOS R10, which might serve you better in terms of 4K pictures, 4K videos and whatnot. So yeah, that's one of the fewer cons. But if you are able to get a good deal, like looking out in the used market space, you're able to get something like this between like $250 to about $500, if I'm not mistaken. And that would, for a price like that, I think it will serve you more than well. Oh yeah, and mine looks this big because I've got a battery grip attached to it, which gives you the ability to have two batteries. Hold on a second. Gives you the ability to have two battery compartments, so you're able to use two batteries at the same time, which extends your battery life, because for some reason Canon decided to put the LPE17 batteries in here. Now the LPE17 batteries have gained a bad rep because they don't really last as long as you'd expect, so the battery grip is really a great addition to someone who owns this camera, because it gives you 2 times the battery life and without really compromising much on the weight. Canon never really designed an official battery grip for this camera, but this is a Chinese, I think this was a Niwa. It was either Niwa or I think Zome or something like that. So most third-party Chinese makers have battery grips available for cameras like this, where it gives you the ability to use the shutter on the other side as well, and that's basically it. So now let's talk, who is this camera for? This camera is for beginners on a budget, or people who want to upgrade from let's say basic cameras to something a little more serious or a little more professional. Now if you're on a very tight budget, this is what I would recommend, but if you have the money to splash, I'd recommend cameras like the Canon R50, the R10, the Sony ZV-E10. Yeah, cameras in that price range have way better specs, can do a way better job, especially when it comes to video options, while maintaining a mid to high tier price. So if you ever think of getting something like this, I'd recommend you look out for the best deal possible first before going full in and getting it. So what do you think? Is this camera worth it? Is it something you're thinking of upgrading to? Are there any deals you're looking at online that you think are worth it? Tell me in the comment section below. If you want to get used cameras online, I think Adorama, MPB, I think KEH, and I think B&H Photo are some of the best places you can go looking out for used camera gear for the best value for money. So you can check them out online and see what you could get. Yeah, thoughts, comments, feelings, tell me what you want to say in the comment section below. I'll meet you on the next one. Bye.